Okay, happy Friday. I hope that you guys are having a solid week and have awesome plans for the weekend. My name is Ashley Smith, and I'm a coach here at Working Against Gravity, and I'm excited to do this. It's been a while since I've done a Facebook Live. This is a shameless plug for our meet and greets, our webinars, and also we have an upcoming alumni kind of like a Zoom call. So if you are interested in the alumni program, you have questions, you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about, then we invite you to come join Crosby and I. It'll be next Thursday. So if you have any questions, or if you're like, how do people do this long term? We're there to answer all your questions. So yeah, definitely join us next week. It'll be at 5 o'clock on Thursday. So yes, that's our shameless plug. So today I just kind of wanted to do a quick Facebook Live on how to approach progress from a long-term perspective, but using maybe shorter chunks to get the job done. I'm just going to give a little bit of the background. When I first started working against gravity, I did a really long cut the first time, but that's because I was just super aggressive and I was super hard-headed, and I was like, I'm going to power through this, achieve my goals, and stop at nothing. And then I realized, okay, actually learning to maintain is part of the process, and now I approach my goals a lot differently. So I encourage you that if maybe this isn't the first time that you've tried to make progress towards a certain goal, whether it's weight loss, building, especially building, that takes a while. Or if you're like, this is my third or fourth different type of program and I'm just really frustrated, then this is definitely for you and for anybody who just kind of is at a point where they're like, I don't know what's going on, but nothing feels right type of thing. I encourage you to approach it from a different angle. So right now, I know that personally, I can't stay focused on a cut for longer than 6 to 8 weeks. Before I was, like I said, I was super gung-ho and I wasn't going to stop at anything, and that served me then, but that approach does not serve me now. So if you are joining WAG and you're like, okay, I just need a different approach, then I encourage you to discuss with your coach, hey, I may want to work in blocks in different chunks. And so I'm going to quickly explain how I strive to make progress throughout the year in a sustainable way. So it's something that I want to do year after year, and no, it's not cutting all year long. So I will take a look at my calendar, and I already know that between October and January are like the holidays. So for me, because I am not a weight specific athlete, I don't need to cut during the holidays because I'm very comfortable with where my body composition is and my weight and just working towards my goals. I don't have a specific need to cut during the holidays. So for me, I use the holidays to work on other things. So that will be like October, November, December, January. So that's like a 4-month span right there. And I know maybe you're like, well, I'm paying for this program, so if I'm not losing weight every single day of every single week of every single month, then it's not worth it. And I encourage you to maybe challenge that thought with, maybe that's why we're here, because we haven't learned to maintain through the holidays, or just be able to take a break in a way that serves us rather than constantly going off the rails or yo-yoing. So during October through January, I will work on making sure, these are things that I work on during the year, but because I'm not actively trying to lose weight, my goals shift. So it'll be being present at meals, navigating buffet lines. Like, I know one small trick that I like to do is that I will actually force myself to go to the back, because there's like this pack mentality whenever there's like free food, or when you're at the like holidays and like there's like a buffet. And so sometimes that pack mentality kind of puts you on autopilot. So I like to go to the back and force myself to be like, Ashley, the foods are not going to run out. We are blessed. There's plenty of food. If someone leaves, like, not everyone's going to eat the vegetables, and that's what I want. So like there's no need for me to rush to the front. So I'll go to the back, and that also gives me time to look at the food, to enjoy why I'm there by talking to somebody in line who I may not have been sitting next to. So then like things I also this past holiday season, I like to work on responding in kindness when people say things about my eating habits or the way my body's changed. So these are all things that are not macro related, but these are things that are all related to progress and sustainable progress. So there's so much to work on when you're not always striving to lose weight as well. So like, I don't want you to think, like, going back to that, I don't want you to feel like if I'm not losing weight every single day, then like I'm not getting my money's worth. There's so much to work on. And so that's just a little bit of things that I like to work on through October and January. And then January and February, I'm gonna go back a little bit. During the holidays, I think I remember like it was like in December, I had 12 events in 1 month. For me, that is not entirely the environment that I would sit there and choose to cut if I didn't have to. That's not the environment that I want to strive to lose weight. That's the environment that I want to strive to maintain my progress. So that's where the environment plays a role. And if you're not on a specific like timeline, then I encourage you to take that different approach. So, okay, going back to January and March. So now we just come off our really busy holiday season, and come January, there's a million ads out there like, start your diet, do this, new you, new this, right? And while, yes, that's a great time, because I actually started January 1st when I first started my journey, 100%. I am a New Year's resolution WAG product. But now I use January as instead of the knee-jerk reaction of tightening up real fast our habits, I use it as to kind of like relax. We just got done traveling. We just went through a million holidays out of our routine. Like, my sleep's probably off. I've been in different time zones. We've spent more time with family than normal. So I'm maybe a little stressed, So like really January to March is like when I come home, I breathe, I relax, I get into my routine. I set New Year's resolution goals because I do love it. This past one is yoga. So that's why you'll see me post about yoga, because I'm holding strong. I'm trying to stay strong to that. Think about what I want to accomplish during the year, like just so many things. So, but one thing that I do now as someone who's been doing this long term, so for some of you guys that are like, how is this sustainable? What does this look like after I achieve progress? Is I still make goals. I still make New Year's intentions, resolutions. Like, I'm all about it. I just don't do the knee-jerk reaction come January. I prefer to like ease into it. So I'll ease into like, and then really work on just being in my routine and allowing that to produce progress. Because honestly, the 3 to 4 months before that, we were all over the place with like the holidays. So just being in my routine, going to my gym, just back to tracking my food, weighing my food, spending time at home, that starts to produce progress without having to like always cut macros or always really get super strict and rigid, because I have found for myself that it's just best when I stay in the middle. I don't ever want to be a pendulum that's going back and forth. My goal is to kind of like always think of it as a spectrum. I know we say on and off the bandwagon, and I do say that too. but I actually like to look at it as a spectrum, meaning that like I just want to be in the middle. And when life gets crazy, I need to increase the flexibility spectrum. When, you know, things are calm, I can increase the adherence. And but the goal is to stay in the middle. Um, so yes. So then now coming into like the month of March, this past, and I know someone had asked that I kind of talk about it, but like one of the things that you want to take into consideration is also is, do you know if you have a month that's just going to be crazy, that's just going to be absolutely insane, and like the goal is to do the best you can. So for me, that was the month of March. And so with that, it's really important that we adjust our expectations to match the level of adherence that you're willing to give, because sometimes you're just not willing, like, you know, during the holidays that was a willing, or you're just not able to give due to like life just got crazy, like life just got real, you know what I mean? That does not mean that you go off the deep end. That doesn't mean that we have to abandon ship and goals are not being chased after. It just means that once again, we need to scale it back to the things that you do have control over. So if I don't have control over my sleep, then, you know, I'm going to have control over my water intake. If I don't have control over what's being served, I'm going to be in control of not eating distracted, putting my phone down, and eating slow. One of the things that I like to say is, let's not preload our fork before what we finished eating in our mouth. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you catch yourself doing it, you're not alone. That's something that we kind of just, we're a culture that eats fast. So if I'm not in control on what's being served, I'm in control on how I choose to eat it. Just small things like that. So that was basically the month of March for me. I also had a million events. So again, it's not going off the deep end. It's staying in your habits, so that you're never having to restart a habit. So even though I'm not in control of all these things and life is crazy, I personally still choose to track, just because that's something that I'm totally in control of, and I don't have to restart that habit. A lot of us, whenever we go to take breaks, sometimes we'll abandon everything, and we are creatures of habit. So I actually encourage you to keep your routine, but either do it at a slower pace or like relax on one thing. But if you think about vacations, this is why we're so eager to come home, is because we actually do like our routine. We do like our habits. Sometimes it's just the pace that we're moving at is just too much. So then from there, like I said, I don't have a goal weight or a competition that my weight needs to be at. So my goal is just to lean out for the summertime, and then, you know, enjoy the summer and the pool and all these things. So around, where did I leave off? Kind of like April, May, June is when I'll start leaning out, just because I just want to be leaner for the summer. No big giant why or any reason, just because tracking and weighing is a tool that I pick up and put down as I need it. And so right there, that's about a 12-week span. I already know personally, I can't stay focused for 12 weeks. Not saying that I can't stay focused, but mentally I get burnt out. So if you are at week 12 and you're like, this is just not happening, or if you're at week 20 and you're like, I actually don't know how I'm going to get to week 32, I encourage you to not see that as a sign that this isn't going to work, but maybe that we need to just to adjust our approach. So for me, I know that I have about a 6-week span of where I can really be really diligent and go really precise. Now, after that, now that's not because like this isn't sustainable, but we're not supposed to be on a deficit for our whole entire life. Like to make that our goal is to go against what our body is like designed. And so there's a reason why there's like a butting up. So I'll go about 6 weeks, and then, but this is why I'll do 6 weeks instead of 8 weeks. Yes, I can push to 8 weeks, but like I said, but 6 weeks allows me to go into 1 or 2 weeks of relaxing in a good mindset, meaning I'm not burnt toast mentally before I am like, oh wait, I think I need a break. I've done that to myself, and I've learned from that. And so now I know, okay, my body's starting to feel a little run down, like I'm just, or mentally I just need a break, and it's okay to say that. So I will then decide to take a break before I hit that wall. I don't want to hit that wall and then take a break, because that leads us going into those relaxing weeks, or those like deload weeks, or those weeks where you take a break and completely go off the walls because you've been wound so tight. So that is my logic behind that. And that really works for myself, because then I am not like losing control because I've been so restricted. It's okay, I'm just going to relax. Now, that does not mean, now that means 100% that we need to adjust our expectation of progress. That does not mean that we go into 2 weeks taking a break and expect to see the scale continuing to go down, or we expect to consider. Now, I'm not saying that it can't happen, but that's not the goal. Therefore, we need to adjust our expectations. So for me, I tend to see like a 1 to 2 pound fluctuation, which I always do. And that doesn't mean anything went wrong. Nothing went bad. Like I didn't lose progress. It is just simply that I am just taking a breather. My weight slightly fluctuated up, and that's okay. A lot of us think that progress is a linear thing and it's just always going to go down, when really I like to see it as 3 steps forward, 1 step back, but I'm still forward too, so we keep going and we keep going. And that's kind of what like a break is for me. So then after that, so on that break, again, it is essential that we take those not so much seriously, but like there's a purpose behind it. So some of us may not want to take a break because we feel like it's not going to get us towards our goal. Well, we're either going to burn out, hit a wall, or we can pause and relax and work on those other things that I talked about earlier. Because at the end of the day, all of us are here, yes, to achieve a goal, but really we're all here to maintain that goal, no matter what it is. And so we cannot skip that. That is not optional, because if we do, we're going to circle right back around and going to be right back where we started, learning the skills to maintain it. So a lot of us think that we can bust through, make this progress, and then we'll learn to maintain. And that is a great approach too. I did that my first cut. But for me, that's just not where I'm at. So I like to use those breaks to work on those other things. Once again, that is like intuitive eating. So I'll take a day where I don't track or weigh, but yet I'll do it on like a normal day, on a day where I eat my normal breakfast. I'll make sure that I'm eating outside. I'm not eating in front of the computer, that I eat slow, that I really listen to what my body's saying. Really make sure that what's driving me to eat isn't this need to be constantly full, rather than feeling the feeling of just not hungry. Really taking the time to listen to that. I've been actually working on, it's called like matching. And you can only really do it whenever you're actually physically hungry. So if I'm going to the pantry because I am stressed, because I'm stressed out or I'm bored, it's really hard to know what you want to eat. And because it's not physical hunger that's driving it, it's something else. And that's okay. There's no shame around that either. But so then I'll wait until I physically feel hungry, and then I'll decide, okay, is it hot? Is it cold that I want? Is it crunchy? Do I want something heavy? Do I want something light? Do I want something refreshing? And then I'll decide what I want to eat. So that's what I will work on the 2 weeks that I take a break. So again, like we're doing it with a purpose. Everything that we do has a purpose and can serve us if we are intentional with it. So yeah, so then like July and September, I will do another two blocks, so maybe 6 or 4 weeks, then like 2 weeks. And then yeah, and then that brings me back into October. So that's kind of like my year plan, because I like to see a plan sometimes. I'm a planner. And then it just helps me stay focused. Because now, before, like I was okay with powering through and not needing like an end date. And now I know that I work really well knowing that, hey, like this is just like this is my season where I lean out, and then the rest, and like I can stay focused, because it's not something I'm going to sustain completely year round, but that doesn't mean that I don't sustain progress year round. So I kind of talked all about that. If you guys have any questions, I would love to answer them. This is a little different than like the web, the like Zoom calls where like I could see if someone has a question. But yeah, I think there's only about 8 of us. So I think that might be it. If you guys have any questions about what I went over, or just want any more information, you could definitely email me, talk to your coach if this is something that you're interested in. And I guess the best thing to know is that there's more than one way to make progress. And so if you are feeling burnt out, or if you feel like you hit this wall, just know that there's nothing wrong with you, and that you're not doing anything wrong. We just might need a different approach. So yeah. All right. Well, you guys have an awesome Friday. And yeah, bye.